Hey, what's going on, everybody? Enter ChazmaN here, back with another stream of Enter ChazmaN Live. This time coming to you on St. Patty's Day. Yeah, so what's going on, everyone? Skylar Twilight's in chat. What's up, Skylar Twilight? Skylar says howdy. If you guys don't know, once again, this is only my third rendition, I think, of Enter ChazmaN Live, and the past two have been very fun. I've had some good times with you guys. Basically, all I've been doing here, this is kind of I'm kind of treating this as my one stream during the week where I can kind of just like sit back and kind of chit chat with you guys and kind of check out what's going on the internet and kind of see what's happening. I don't know, check out like We've been watching a lot of trailers and checking out some drama with some other YouTubers and stuff. There is a major drama that's been kind of going on, especially the last, like, I'd say month or two. And then that's probably going to be what I think a large portion of this episode will be based on, is me learning more about that and kind of talking to you guys about that. But yeah, that's what we got going on. Alright, so if you don't mind, let me check. Alright, so it looks like my audio seems to be good. Chat looks good. Stream looks solid. Okay, I think I'm basically already here. Oh, I totally forgot to go through my Discord to see what had been going on here. Actually, this is a video I definitely want to check out again too. Oh, I just messed something up. Alright, so I guess why don't we start with something kind of easy on the palate. What was it? There was a new trailer for something that I just saw drop. Oh, did you guys get to see the new Silent Hill trailer? I kind of want to see that again. I'm a fairly recent Silent Hill fan. It's called Silent Hill F. Yeah, let's watch that again. I'm kind of down to watch through this and pick it apart a little bit. Alright, enough music. Oops, way too high. Right there. Oh, I should have had this set up. Alright, here we go. Back to it. If you guys haven't seen, I'm a fairly big Silent Hill fan. I recently played through Silent Hill 2 Remake, and then I played through another game. It was like a free game on yeah, some sort of free game on PS Plus. It wasn't bad. The remake was really good. I think I recently read that this got rated mature in Japan, which is kind of interesting. I think it's like 18 and up. I think this is the first time Silent Hill is doing something outside of the US. They're going to a different country, I think. I have an adult beverage, so celebrating St. Patty's Day the right way. Ew. I'm very curious how this is going to be different set in a different country. Like, what makes it different? James? James! Robot Slayer himself said, ooh, trailer. Yeah, I figured we'd start off with something kind of light. Although I don't know if I'd call Silent Hill light. Light-ish.
もう時間がないのよ。あなたが生かされたということ
あ
は、ここに至ってもまだ迷いがあるということなのね。あなたがそれに悩める時間はもう尽きかけている。
あなたは誰なの？さっきからなんで何もわからないふりをしているの？私はね、あんたをすぐに殺すこともできたんだよ。
So I'm assuming this is it's got to be very atypical of Silent Hill, right? Like this has got to be some girl who did something terrible in her life, and she's being punished for some of her misdoings, wrongdoings. I guess that's a better term. Gonna be very disappointed if she's every Silent Hill game is your protagonist is put through the ringer. I'm kind of hoping the same thing happens here. Definitely seems like it. The classic Silent Hill pipe. Silent Hill F. They've definitely been experimenting with the names. I know some of the names have been a little odd.
あなたが幸せをつかんでくれることを願っています。
Ew. I don't remember. Did it say a date? Silent Hill F. Does it say who's developing it? I guess just Konami in general. Interesting. Very different for Silent Hill. Alright, so that one looks cool. That was one of the first things that somebody sent, I think, in our Discord. Let me go back through our Discord. I think that's something somebody sent. Alright, so a lot of these are topics from the previous week. What else? What else was there? Was there anything else? Let me browse through. Oh, I think I think Papa Meat or Meat Canyon. Why? No, yeah, Meat Canyon. I think he just dropped a new video. I don't think I got to see it. The many faces of. Have you guys seen this new kind of meme thing that's been going around with JD Vance? All of his different faces. I gotta say, that's been one of the more Oh, let's watch that video. Hold on. Yeah, I want to watch that one. I don't mean to get all political on you guys, but I have thoroughly enjoyed this whole saga with the JD Vance stuff. I thought Mudahar posted a video on it. Yeah, let's watch Muda's video.
Yeah, it's me, Mudahar.
This video I thought was funny. Alright, Muda.
And you know what? I don't want there to be a whole war in the comment section below. I don't want it to turn to like Call of Duty or whatever between, you know, two sides.
This whole saga's been so funny. Me and my brother have been sending Instagram pictures back and forth of all the different faces of JD Vance. It's pretty
At the end of the day,
pretty
ladies
hilarious.
and gentlemen, I'm getting haunted by one face that I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably seen floating around on the internet. And, you know, normally I wouldn't make a video on just like seeing a meme, but when this is basic, when I wake up every single morning and the first thing I see in my like actual eyeballs is somebody else's face for like 4 days in a fucking row, you know, ladies and gentlemen, we gotta talk about it. Now, this is J.D. Vance, current Vice President to the United States of America. And for whatever, you know, whatever you got to discuss, this is not about any of his
I didn't notice he
not
did
about
that.
any of his discussions, not about any of his, like, background. It's about his face. Now, I want you to burn this face really well. I got this from whitehouse.gov, so at least we know that it's probably not edited with, okay? It's not touched up. It's not face filtered. There's no AI that's looked at this. Okay.
The ones I always like, the ones I think are the funniest, are the ones that it says, "You didn't say please and thank you enough, Mister Mr. President. I think he
Unless
mentions
they
that,
got
but those are
beauty
some of my
filters in
favorite
the White
ones.
House, I don't know about, but this is, from what I understand, the man's official portrait, okay? Now, obviously, for the last few days, there have been a lot of people that have been making memes like this. Come on, Bam! I got walking pneumonia. So, yeah, you know, people have been making fat JD Vance memes. Obviously, the man is not this ginormously voluptuous. This is clearly the work of artificial intelligences. But obviously, you know, there have been just fun captions, fun memes. You know, every time you see a photo of this guy, it always just blows me away. There are so many different Fat Vance memes that you could collect an entire, like, iPhone worth of them and still not have enough space on the device to store the other 10,000 images that exist. But anyways, Mom said you have to find a game that's 3 players.
That one I
And
sent
a
to my
10
brother.
minute- God
That was one of the
dang.
first
Now,
ones I
this
saw.
one,
That was
I
great.
swear, is not an edited image from my understanding, or maybe it is. I'm not even sure. It's actually
Mom
so
says,
well done. They
Mom
could've
says
got
you have
this
to play a
direct
game that's
feed.
3
You have to
players.
say please and thank you, Mr. Yankee. I love this guy, dude. When you die in the game and your little brother knows it's his turn now. You know, if you ever played with your younger brother, you ever played like GTA sitting next to him, he knew when it was his turn. God damn. It's such a perfect face, dude. Such a memeable face. You just plugged in the N64. The boys are being dropped off by their mom. The Mountain Dew Code Red is on ice. Do they even make Code Red anymore? I remember when I lived in the
Yes,
States,
yes,
actually
they
had
do.
one of the best
I'm
Mountain
pretty
Dew
sure.
flavors, which
I'm pretty
was
sure they
Code
still
Red.
make Code
I don't
Red.
even know if they make it. You ordered the pizza 31 minutes ago, and the delivery driver isn't here yet. It will be free. It's Friday night in America. That face is the perfect encapsulation of the greatest Friday night one can ever have. God damn. You're in the wrong neighborhood, liptard. It's just a bunch of walking
He's so
Pepe
stupid.
chuds, dude. It's crazy.
I've loved Mudahar's kind of perspective on a lot of the political stuff, because Mudahar, I think, is Canadian, so he's I mean, I like his perspective. He's a little bit more jokey about, which I think that's the only real way to be, is kind of I don't want to say to not take a lot of the political things happening seriously, but I think you should take him seriously to an extent. But I kind of like his viewpoint. He's kind of more like me, where treat it a little more jokey, but try to have some seriousness at times about things. I don't know.
You know,
Can't be
it's
serious at all
always
times.
Just like having fun. One thing I've noticed, that no matter who you are, people can just come together and make memes of this guy. And one thing that I've definitely found impressive too is apparently somebody had asked him. This isn't totally confirmed by me, but apparently
I should also say Mudahar is actually involved in our main topic for the day. He's actually involved in the saga that's going on with H3 and Hassan Piker, which is interesting. Like, I don't know how he got roped in. We'll have to go back and watch. I know he got roped in from something on Twitter. Him and Hassan were going at it.
like the people closest to him are like, yeah, this guy's just apparently cool with it. He's just finding funny in it. You know, there's no
Of
way
which I'll
you can
explain-
lash out and crash out at the
I'll
people
explain who
getting
the
mad
characters
making
are
memes of you.
involved with our main
Because at the
topic
end of the
when
day,
we get
ladies
to it.
and gentlemen, it is just what it is, all right? Like, people are going to meme this guy, so you might as well take it on the chin and have a few laughs. For instance, this is Kim Jong Vance. I love this one too. This is like a great collection of the political compass. You got him on the top right. You got Big Boss.
Metal
You got
Gear
Venom
Vance.
Snake Vance on
Yeah.
the left. With actually pretty badass look. If it was me, I would have had that as my White House portrait pick if I worked in the government at all. You've got Emo Vance, and you've got the original Fatty Vance right here. Riddle me this, I demand money, I demand thanks, and yet all the while, I never say thanks. Who am I? They riddled him. They gave him the Riddler brother. Do the thank you.
do the thank you.
I can't, dude. I have so many of these. We could literally be recording for like hours on end, but we got to get through this. It's game night, boys. You ever played Guess Who? Just to show you how many different versions there are. These are all individual versions of the JD Fat Vance meme. And it's all done on a Guess Who board, okay? It's crazy shit.
I think it's
For the
especially
first time
funny
on-
considering, I don't know, JD Vance tries. I think he feels like he tries to come off as such a serious character, and I don't know. I think it's even more hilarious that people are making a meme out of someone who takes themselves so seriously. I don't know. It's all kind of in good fun, at least to me. Hey, Amy Lee's in chat. Amy Lee says hi. What's up, Amy Lee?
I'm genuinely confused. I think this is Stalker 2. I think this game might actually be Stalker 2. It almost reminds me of like Serious Sam for a minute, but this is where they're starting to put like, you know, some JD stuff over here on the actual video games. This is a less impressive edit, but you know, a hilarious edit nonetheless. Is this the old Warhammer 40k Vance? Ooh boy, he's got the power all in his hands. For anybody that's like a creepypasta aficionado like me, you probably remember this girl right here, but the creepy girl
I forgot about this one.
By good old Vance. This is surprisingly the one part where like his face actually makes this image at least 100 times scarier. There would be a metric amount of shit and piss in my
For your consideration?
I've
What?
seen this at like 2 in the morning, brother. God, that's why I'm glad I film in the morning sometimes, dude. God damn. You know, I never thought I'd be looking at this movie in a long time.
Oh, is this
remembered, this is
Spy Kids?
This is from like that. I think this is Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
No, I think it's Spy Kids 1 or 2. Warhammer's his robot slayer himself.
This guy's staring right at me, dude. You know, at this point, I want to play a game like Doom and just have him be like Doom guy's like portrait at the bottom. That would make me absolutely happy. I'm sure there's already.
I've always wanted to get into Warhammer, but I feel like the couple people I know that are big into it kind of, they always say the same thing. They're always like, no, you don't want to get into it. It's a money suck. You're gonna go poor or something. Skylar Twilight said it's Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Oh, okay. I was thinking Sky Kids. Or Spy Kids. I've never seen Shark Boy and Lava Girl, but I've seen a couple of the Spy Kids a long time ago.
Already a mod that exists like that on Doom anyways. Oh no, that's the old Las Vegas sphere, dude.
Why does it look like Darth Vader there?
Get that onto the Las Vegas sphere.
Looks like Darth
actually put it on.
Looks like Darth Vader after before he dies.
Dude, this would be a killer Las Vegas like sphere thing. Imagine flying in and seeing this stare right at you, brother. That would be crazy. POV, you can't have your lunch until you say thank you. All right, the deep fried stuff is getting a little bit too out there. You got to have a good mix between the fat and then like, you know, this is just the whole like red deep fried stuff might be getting a little bit too far, but the caption just brings it back all the way. Oh, bro,
I love this one. This might be my favorite one. The
too.
freaking 3D spinning version.
Now, obviously,
that might be my
like
favorite
artificial
one.
Intelligence allows us to get access to funnier memes like this. Now, for anybody that's oh wow, what the fuck is this? So I just recently started watching.
I think the spinning one is my favorite.
I can't deny.
I forgot
it,
about that one.
He matches up to a Tony Soprano pretty well, dude. This is outside the old Bada Bing. You got to watch that show. Sopranos is probably one of the greatest television shows to ever exist, and I'm so glad it's meeting up the actual meme-tacular voyage that is the JD Vance stuff. Oh no, you received the like. Don't keep your potential.
It's so stupid.
You know, it's crazy how true this is on like dating apps and shit. You received a like. Do you wanna find out? No, I'm good. Dude, I swear to God, with a baby face like this, you can't even win. They got the whole propeller. And they got the lollipop. You're not winning against this, man. I'm sorry. At some point, you might as well shave whatever beard you have off and just completely embrace all of this. The baby face, Fat Vance meme is just, it is hilarious. And again,
all right, I think you guys got it. Thank you so much, Muda. I like Mudahar. Mudahar is he's an interesting character. He's somebody that I don't want to say I didn't like him, but I just didn't pay attention to Muda for a long time, and then just in the last like 5-6 months have I really started watching his stuff, and I think he's a funny character. I like Muda. I like his, like I said, I like his perspective on some things. Alright, so real quick, I guess if you guys want, not the propeller hat, says Skylar. If you guys want, I can try and give, I'm not quite sure how good I'll be at it, but I'll try my best to try and explain, I guess kind of the origin of the reasoning. If you guys don't know, there's an entire beef that, like a hardcore beef that's like, I've been trying to put this off because it's a little bit more in the political realm. But this whole saga with H3, Hassan's community, Reddit is involved, and now, like I said, it's involving people like Mutahar, and you got all these different like people that are all involved. So it is mainly in the political realm, but it's kind of expanded out into just the internet kind of realm, I think, with all these creators and other people involved. So again, this is, so if you don't know, I guess the origin of this whole thing, to anyone who's not a big, I don't know if anyone watches H3, their old H3 videos. I guess I should be showing this stuff off. Why was there audio there? Okay. So, like I said, so H3, they're a channel that's been around for a long time. I've mentioned them before, mainly because in my early like YouTube days, I was a big fan of I don't know if you guys have heard of the group, but there was Filthy Frank, there was an iDubbbz, and there was Max Mofo. Those were like the three main people in their group, and they were like known for doing super ridiculous, raunchy. I think Filthy Frank is actually my entryway into like this kind of, I guess, subculture of YouTube. Big Filthy Frank fan. Used to watch all of his videos, and then he would do stuff with iDubbbz and Max Mofo, and I would become kind of fans of all those guys. And eventually, they brought on H3, this guy, and his wife, Hila. And I don't know, that was the first time I'd heard of H3. H3 was through one of their videos. I think it was a video where they sat down and they were answering questions from people in their communities. And of course, it's like a super vulgar, you know, that whole area of the internet was incredibly vulgar, incredibly not suitable for probably kids or people, probably not people, not in general. But yeah, and that was from, gosh, all of these characters feel like a lifetime ago. All of these people are so drastically different. H3, him and his wife Hila would do a bunch of videos. They would eventually become very popular from I think Vape Nation, eventually doing a bunch of stuff, and then they would go on to eventually having a podcast, the H3 podcast. They'd get big. Filthy Frank would go on to be, he would eventually end up quitting Filthy Frank, his whole YouTube channel. All the videos are still there, but he ended up transforming into Joji, who was like a big name in the musical scene, and then he kind of disappeared incredibly quickly as well. So iDubbbz, he's same boat. He's kind of, I hate throwing the word fell off, because I don't hate any of these people, even, you know, but I don't know, his YouTube career was interesting. He would kind of continue doing the same things for a while, and then after he meets his wife, I think it's Anissa, they would go on and they would end up kind of creating the Creator Clash. If you haven't heard of that, that was like it is, I don't want to say that is like a big boxing event that they hold in Florida, down here every I think they've been doing it 3-4 years in a row. His YouTube career is kind of, I don't want to say dead, but like I honestly don't follow iDubbbz, and the one I really don't follow anymore is Max Mofo. I don't know, I don't know exactly what he does anymore. But yeah, I'm not in the same boat with a lot of people. Like, even though I don't pay attention to some of these, the only one, H3, is the only one I really pay attention to. The other ones I'm all kind of, you know, I don't pay attention to. But just because I'm in that boat, I've never been somebody that's like, oh, those guys, they changed up. They're not what they used to be. So I hate these guys now. You know what I mean? I'm just like, you know, I got respect for them. I very much appreciate the old content, and I hope them all well, you know, with what they're doing. The whole Joji thing is fascinating to me. What happened with Filthy Frank, like his whole rise to being one of the biggest names on YouTube, and then him having to quit due to medical conditions and stuff. I think he had what what did he? I think he had epilepsy or something, or he had some condition that was causing him to have seizures or something. So he ended up quitting that, and then yeah, like I said, became Joji, and then had to quit that. I'm guessing because of those same medical issues, and now he like, I don't want to say he's become like hateful, but I think he's very kind of ashamed of the old content he used to do. So he like hates people calling him Filthy Frank now, and like, I'm honestly surprised he's left a lot of the content up. I would think at this point he would have like, if he wants to disassociate himself from those old YouTube days, why leave all the content up? But I don't know. I mean, I every now and then I'll go back and watch one of those videos. But yeah, so that sets the groundwork for H3. That's where I know H3 from. Would go on to make the podcast. Now it's one of the bigger podcasts on YouTube in terms of, I don't want to say in terms of anything. It's probably in the top 50, biggest podcasts on YouTube. But yeah, went on to have a big channel. They've gone on to have quite a few events and dramas and different things. They've done collabs with, I think most notably, they did a show, and he did another talk show or podcast with Trisha Paytas, who's another big name on YouTube. They did a show called Frenemies. That went sour. That's a whole nother saga as well. And then eventually, H3 would become, I don't want to say enamored, but he'd become friendly with Hassan Piker, who was more in the political realm. And I think Ethan kind of wanted to dip his toes into there and got kind of interested in him. And I don't necessarily feel as though I think even he would admit he didn't do as much research and stuff into Hassan as he would have liked. But he would bring on Hassan, and they would make a show called Leftovers, do a whole thing. And then, of course, if you don't know, Ethan is Jewish. And I think I remember Frenemies says Robot Slayer himself. Frenemies was interesting, man. That was quite the ride for a... Ethan and H3 are an interesting thing. They collab and make friends with people that, like... It's just like... Yes, they may be entertaining personalities, but it's just... It's like, dude, that... You know what I mean? Like, I think that's why their show is so great. Is because he's willing to kind of, like... go out of his way to chit-chat and talk with people that you just know in the long run it's not going to work out. Like, the whole Trisha thing, I thought Hassan thing would be okay, but the Trisha thing, to me, was obvious. It's like, oh, it's only a matter of time before they blow up on each other. And he's had a number of people on his show that are, like, friendly and come on, that are regulars that, like, bad things go wrong with. What was his name? What's the old man's name from H3? Or he was a part of the show. The Jersey Outlaw. I forgot his name. The Jersey Outlaw. But that guy, you could tell from like the very beginning. It's like, dude, he's gonna do something to piss you guys off at some point. And I don't know. But yeah, essentially, back to the foundation of where things went wrong with this whole situation is, if you don't know, H3, Ethan and his wife and their family, they're all Jewish. His wife is from Israel along with her side of the family. So, when the whole, what was it, October 7th, October 6th, whatever that, I don't remember the date for that. Whenever that thing happened with, between Israel and Palestine, that ended up becoming a big deal, very sensitive topic for Ethan and his family. And if so facto, I'm not going to get into the specifics. Things didn't go well between him and Hassan. EXO, breakup. And I think the breakup started off as kind of, I don't want to say cordial, but it started off kind of like, okay, yeah, this was going to happen. And then slowly over like a couple of months, it started to like really pick up that like, oh, okay, there's a lot of animosity that kind of has sprung up immediately. And again, ever since then, it's been kind of them kind of criticizing one another and going back and forth. And then Ethan recently put out I guess you could call it a hit piece. I don't want to call it a hit piece, but he put out a content nuke on Hassan Piker, kind of really digging into him. And there's just been any number of people in Hassan's community kind of going after Ethan, and there's been a lot of I don't know, it's just been a lot. It's been a lot of back and forth, and then just recently it all culminating in Ethan having CPS called to his house. So like, I guess we can let's dive into a video that kind of explains more. I'm just kind of trying to describe like my background with the whole community and kind of everything. I for one am not like a part of like Reddit, so I don't understand how Reddit works. I'm not really. I think I started a Reddit page, tried using it for advertising, and like I don't know. I suck at a lot of this stuff. Shoot, it took some of you in chat to get me used to Discord. I'm a bit of a boomer when it comes to some of this stuff. But yeah, let's watch something that explains this. I feel like something that does a better job than I. Sounds like a lot, says Robot Slayer himself. It is a ton. Let's see, where would be a good place? Trying to think of what would be a good foundation that kind of explains everything from the beginning. I'm gonna try and find someone who I feel like is in the middle. I don't really want somebody who's gonna take sides. Again, we're trying to learn about this. I saw the Filthy Frank video. Let's check out Filth, or did I say Filthy Frank? I meant Philip DeFranco. What's up, you beautiful?
Daily dive into the news. We have a lot to talk about on today's extra large show.
So let's see what Philly D has to say.
Dumpster fire, because there are actually several different news stories happening here, though kind of at the center of it you have Ethan Klein, Hassan Piker, and a creator by the name of Frogan. But where we'll start is with the fact that over the past few days,
he'll explain this saga.
Ignoring anti-Semitism by creators like Ethan Klein, multiple content creators have been banned for what were deemed hateful comments, and all of the fallout that's come from that as creators and fans go after one another. Though technically you could...
I totally forgot that Twitch is also involved in all of this. So you have like Hassan, a lot of people in his kind of vicinity, then you have Twitch, then you have Reddit. So you have kind of all of these like groups that are all like, I don't want to say seem like they're not like working together, but I don't know. Let's let Philly D explain it. I'm bad at explaining things.
Degrading Gazans, which, as we covered on the show, was something he apologized profusely for after getting banned. But then the spotlight on the situation shifted after Klein put out a video last Thursday called "Twitch Has a Major Problem." And in that video, Ethan claims that Twitch harbors anti-Semites and actively ignores it. And as some evidence, he points out that Twitch recently unbanned Sneeko and Fresh and Fit.
I feel like I need to drink more for this type of topic.
And then on top of that, he highlighted this segment from an official panel at TwitchCon, where multiple Arab content creators alongside some non-Arabs made a tier list.
Well, it's a panel hosted by Frogan and 4 of her friends, in which they have a tier list where they rate people where good is Arab and bottom is loves Sabra. Sabra is a very popular hummus brand. I know in Israel, it's pretty much in everybody's refrigerator, and it's kosher. They're an American company, but they've been the subject of...
I think what you're going to get at from this is that what Twitch was doing here was really, it's just really odd. It's really odd for you to be like this big content creation social media platform like Twitch to, I don't know, to have such odd people at, what was it, Twitch? Is this Twitch, some sort of big Twitch event? And it's just odd to have, I guess people talking about such subjects to me is just a little like, if I'm the head of Twitch, this is probably the last kind of like conversation I kind of want having at like one of my events, you know what I mean? Purely for PR, you know, it's just like, I don't know. To me, it's just kind of odd that they were like, sure, you can talk about how, you know, people's ethnicity and stuff at a major event of mine.
Pro-Palestine boycott. I mean, it's kind of just Arab good, Jew bad. I mean, I'm having a hard time seeing this any other way. And what's crazy is that I've been suspecting that Twitch has an anti-Semitism problem. Obviously, it started with Hassan platforming Houthi terrorists and showing unfettered terrorist propaganda on his channel.
And then along with that, Klein also added,
If they were really serious about anti-Semitism, Sneeko and Fresh and Fit would never have been brought back to the platform. It's just a no-brainer, right? But they were welcomed back with open arms. And I mean, their whole platform essentially for the...
That is true. I mean, if you know anything about the content creators, Sneeko and Fresh and Fit, this is gonna, in my opinion, they probably shouldn't. If you're wanting to have your platform be a place for all people and to be a welcoming place for people to have conversations and stuff, those are, in my opinion, those are probably not the people I think you want on your platform. Now, again, just my opinion. Yeah, Fresh and Fit, I think you could make an argument maybe, but a person like Sneeko, it's like, you can't have them on there.
Just been anti-Semitism. I'm not even kidding. That's literally all they talk about.
Now, all of that then led to Frogan, who's a mod for Hassan Piker's stream and also streams herself, responding and writing on Twitter.
Like, in my opinion, the fringe people, the people that you feel are like kind of extreme with their topics and conversations, let them go to a Kick or something. What's Kick? And then there's Rumble. Like in my opinion, those people probably shouldn't be allowed on platforms like YouTube or Twitch and stuff. Scott Try says, yeah, anyone but Sneeko. Yeah, Sneeko's just, I know it's very simplistic, but it's kind of a bad dude. You know, it's like, you don't want...
Twitter. Even Klein lied again and said,
if you're running a platform, you probably don't want to be associated with that.
Quote, good equals Arab and Jew equals bad, which isn't what happened. Our tier list was, quote, who has Habibi Pass, which is a meme tier list we did with a variety of creators. Here is the clip with the context. Rather than sharing a clip from that event and adding, the whole basis of my podcast, Arabs with Capri and Raf, is that we are all Arabs from different religious backgrounds. I am Muslim, Capri is Christian, and Raf is Jewish. Sabra hummus is objectively the worst hummus to exist and is the unfortunate standard of hummus in the US. Right, and so with that, you had some feeling that was a reasonable response, though others still called it a dog whistle to say Israeli without saying, especially given the context Klein gave earlier about its popularity in Israel. However, all of that was kind of just the tip of the iceberg, because Frogan ended up deciding just a day later to open up an entirely new can of worms after saying on stream,
I have no pity at all for any fucking soldiers. I will never have any fucking pity for any fucking soldiers. U.S. military? Boo fucking who? I hope you get PTSD. The ones the ones I'm like whatever about the U.S. soldiers are the ones that like acknowledge that like what they did was wrong. They didn't know back then. Whatever. You're a good person in my book. The U.S. military that are like, yeah, like, you know, I did this back then, but now I know it's wrong. Like, I'm changed. Like,
again, this girl Frogan, she's kind of another person playing a part in this, in that she is a mod for Hassan's YouTube channel or Twitch. No, he's not. He's on Twitch, so she's a mod, and that's why like. That's another thing that it's like, for these to be such tricky and touchy subjects, the last thing you would want to feel like is that your mods and your Twitch, you know, lean one way or the other. And I don't know, I think it's very odd for your mod to be like, I don't know. I gotta grab my phone. What was that?
You don't deserve the PTSD.
Never mind.
But like any other motherfucker, you're joining them. You're like, oh my god, I want my fucking Camaro, no student loans. Fuck you.
And like, I feel like a lot of people that have opinions like this, you kind of make it's kind of poisoning the well, you know, a little bit. It's like if you're someone who leans Democrat, to have people that claim to be liberal that are on your side that are making claims like this, it's like, dude, you're just making liberals look bad. You know what I mean? It's one of those things.
I hope you get PTSD, and I hope you get.
Like most people that are Democrats, I'm assured that they're not saying, "Oh, I hope people in the military get PTSD and get their health insurance canceled." You know what I mean? It's just like,
get no health insurance when you get back into America.
Now with that, she did eventually give a sorta apology, but even with that, many users pointed out that Twitch's hateful conduct specifically covers veteran status, so they argued that she should be banned. Arguing things like Twitch ban logic, Frogan saying military service members should get PTSD, no suspension, E-Girl streams softcore porn, 24-hour suspension, Asmon Gold calling Muslims inferior, 14-day suspension, being a Jew in Israel, unable to even create an account on the website, which I'll say we're gonna talk about that last bit at the end of this story. But like always with situations like this led to people digging up old clips of her saying other questionable things. Like with a clip where it appears that she may be hinting that her cousin may be involved with Hezbollah. But either way, by Monday, Twitch eventually cracked down and banned Frogan, which led many to believe that it was because she was wishing American veterans get PTSD. However, it appears that that is not the official reason. Instead, it appears that it was because of her comments on that TwitchCon panel, which is over a month ago, because they also banned the others on that panel, which also...
But and again though, this is one of those things that kind of like it should be biting Hassan in the rear end. It's like, I'll speak for myself. If I was someone as big as Hassan, and I had someone saying stuff like this as a mod in my chat, not even just a mod, if you were just in my chat saying some stuff like that, I would probably be suspending I'd be suspending, you know, your chat or your channel, however that works. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just like, dude, how is one of your mods have this kind of opinions and stuff? And I think that's where, like, a lot of it, in my opinion, falls back on Hassan.
also led to calls that it was being racist against Middle Eastern voices.
And that's all that, like, I feel like, because Frogan and Ethan also went at it too, and, like, at the time they were supposed to be kind of friendly and stuff, so that's another thing. Like, if someone if you have someone who's a friend of yours and one of your mods is like kind of coming after them and stuff, that's the kind of things I think Ethan was kind of super ticked off about early on.
Something that Klein felt was necessary if they wanted to tackle anti-Semitism seriously. And it also looks like the decision was in part taken because of pressure from the Anti-Defamation League, with the ADL even tweeting out a whole thread on this that started by saying, ADL spoke with the Twitch staff today after becoming aware of several concerning incidents on the social media platform and/or involving Twitch streamers in the past week, with them then going on to mention Frogan by name. And so with all this, we've seen Frogan not happy with her 30-day ban, saying 30-day ban for saying people like bottom of the barrel hummus, but other people get 2 weeks for advocating for the genocide of Palestinians. Got it. Or with that last part, a pretty obvious reference to...
I'll be honest, I find this whole conversation around the Israel thing to be very odd. Oh gosh, I'm gonna throw my opinion out there. I don't see why it's so bad to advocate for both sides. You know what I mean? I don't see why it's so bad to say that, like, one side absolutely does not deserve to, like, have, like, basically a genocide. Almost a is it full scale considered a genocide? Even if it's not, it's like one side does not deserve to have that happen to it, and then the other side, in my opinion, deserves to exist as well. I think that's the problem, is that there's so much, I don't know, there's so much animosity towards people that have an opinion on one side or the other. You know, it's like, oh, you're saying that this side, doesn't deserve to exist. It's like, I feel like you should be able to advocate for that. I don't know. That's my opinion. Don't come after me. You know, it's just like, I don't know. I feel like that's part of the problem is, with stuff like that, is that there's so much, like, tit for tat, and what is it, the whole saying, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Who said that? Is that Gandhi, I think? I don't know. And I know the specific political things are touchy subjects, which they should be. I don't think it should be an easy thing to talk about.
Panel, many of whom were avid pro-Palestinian voices, content creators like Hassan Piker began to react in frustration, and in particular to a lot of these controversies being spread and encouraged by various subreddits and the creators associated with.
But I also don't think that, like, as a content creator, if you are someone who is like, and I think this is something that Ethan has ever really talked about, is like, if you are somebody that does believe in peace and does believe that, like, things that like both sides should be able to, like, coexist and live, like, the way they want to live, I don't think allowing people in your community or people in your, like, as your mods to, like, say things that are kind of I don't know, mean, and to kind of I don't feel like going after people is the proper way that, like, we fix things. You know what I mean? Like just because you do something and then I immediately come after you with an incredible rage, that doesn't fix anything. Like, I don't feel like you learn anything. I don't feel like I learn anything. Like, it may feel good in the moment, and I know that's always a tricky thing to say with, like, war and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know. Who am I?
with them, to which Hassan said,
There is no winning in this battle. Okay? There is no winning in this battle. There's nothing you and I or this community or anyone can do. Nothing at all. This is precisely the reason why I just eat it every fucking day. Okay? For the past 12 months, this has been endless. Okay? When they can't get anything off of me and my statements, then they fucking turn around and, you know, pick apart different statements from the chat. If they can't do that, they go after people that are also pro-Palestinian, but have smaller audiences.
Hassan then went on to claim that many people's opinions are turned into a caricature of who they are. Like, for example, he says that Muslim people are often painted as anti-Semitic no matter what, and with that arguing that there isn't much he can do to change people's minds about it.
There is nothing I can do. There is nothing I can do. All I can do is just take it. Just like all Capri Sun Poppy and Frogan and everyone else that's getting banned in this mass ban wave, that all they can do is take it.
But then at almost the exact same time Hassan was making these statements on his stream, Klein was also streaming, with most of that criticizing Twitch for having an anti-Semitism problem, right? Talking about the recent unbans and criticizing people like Hassan for letting it become commonplace on Twitch. And among his problems with Hassan is that he's promoting this guy from Yemen who many think, Klein included, is...
And again, like, things like this didn't have to get to this point if Hassan early on would have taken a stance with his mods. And I refuse to believe that you as a creator cannot, I don't want to say control, because control is a bad, but you can't, that you can't make your chat and your fan base malleable, especially if you're a larger content creator who has money and can pay for mods. Like, for Hassan, his whole thing is that he's always said is, like, when him and Ethan were really going at it, and, like, at the time they were, like, really good friends, and like, Hassan, like, Ethan was, like, basically crying at him, telling them, like, you're just gonna let your community and chat say things like this to me? And Hassan was like, Ethan, I don't know what you want me to do. I can't control my community. I can't control my chat. And it's like, dude, what do you mean you can't control that? You have mods, and your mods are the ones who are supposed to, like if I have a good friend, and not to throw you out, but if I have a really good friend and Skylar Twilight in chat, another good friend, but if Skylar Twilight was to, like, go hard at, like, a friend of mine who I know or something, and it was like, and it was just completely out of bounds. It was just, like, saying, like, terrible things and calling them names and stuff, like I would be suspending and banning. You know what I mean? Like, which I think that kind of goes back to the idea that, like, in my opinion, I don't think Hassan ever really viewed Ethan as friends or friendly. I know that's more of a conspiracy, but I think Skylar Twilight mind blown. No, you're cool, Skylar. But you get where I'm coming at. Like, yeah, like if somebody was going after someone who I, like, considered a friend, like, I would, yeah, ban, suspend. Like, what's the problem? And the fact that Hassan never did any of that stuff for somebody who supposedly was his friend was like... And the problem is like, even in your community, I feel like you don't even need to suspend or ban. Like, I feel like most of the time, if you're just advocate to your community to do something, most of the time I feel like they like you enough where they'll kind of placate a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you guys get what I'm saying, right? Like, most, like I gave it to you if Hassan on stream was just like, listen guys, please don't go after Ethan, don't do this, don't do that. I feel like they would listen to him. They're fans of his channel. They're gonna do whatever Hassan wants. Like, I don't know. I don't even feel like he necessarily needs to ban or suspend or anything.
Involved in Houthi piracy. So this is
The fact that he, like, never even, like, said stuff like that is crazy.
And also blasted Hassan and others because of clips like this.
I think, like, anyone who does our general job, and especially someone like him who I only make $3 million a month. I'm middle class. He makes $30 million a month.
He's upper middle class.
He's upper middle class, and it's like, we won the lottery.
Oh,
Why
yeah,
are we-
Robot Slayer himself is, yeah, or at least say that's not what he condones, and that's all. That's all I think Ethan and some other people in that community wanted. But I think they just wanted Hassan just to like not condone it. Like that's like as a friend of somebody, I feel like that should be fairly easy to do. You know what I mean? Like even if you don't want to like if you go around and start banning and suspending, that could affect your career or whatnot. Like even if you're worried about your career and ticking off your fan base, at least tell your fan base that like to like, listen, this isn't cool, guys. Please don't do this. And then if it is continuing to go on to be like, sorry, Ethan, sorry, everyone, this is not what I want. You know what I mean? Like, again, if you're somebody's friend, that's what I think you do. But alas, I think it's pretty visible, and I think that's why I do think Ethan has been incredibly petty because of all of this, and to a certain extent, I think he has for a reason. But like, I do think Ethan's been a little overly petty, and he's talked about it a little bit too much, and I think he should have. I probably think he should have dropped it a little bit or as much as he could. I think he's gotten a lot of pushback just because he's continuously bashed on Hassan and everything, and it's like I don't know where I was going with that.
Thinking about
This motherfucker says
I think my
rich,
drink's
so
kicking
why
in
do you
already a
care
little bit.
about anti-Semitism. Also, like Hassan is.
I put like
as
2
rich-
shots
like,
in this
probably
thing.
as rich as I am. Let's be honest. He downplays as well. He gets like the same concurrent viewers as we do, and he collects all the money straight to the dome himself. Okay, so like the same logic. Just say, hey, son, why are you getting so worked up about Gaza, man?
And that is another thing that like I actually used to be a fan of Hassan, and I would say it tapered down a little bit due to this whole situation. But I think since then I've kind of had a little bit more realizations about Hassan a little bit, and I think one big thing that I don't really like that he does is he kind of. Ethan is right. I do think he plays himself up to be a little bit too much of like an anti-capitalist, and that he's, you know, kind of a working guy, and he's. I think one thing I've learned about him is that I think he's kind of a. I don't think he's like a salt of the earth guy. Like his parents were like wealthy. His parents owned, I think his mom owns like a bunch of real estate and stuff. His parents were wealthy growing up. I don't know if it's true or not. You can fact check me on this. I'm pretty sure he was a draft dodger in Turkey. Like he like left Turkey because Turkey, similar to many other countries, European countries or whatever, has like a intense what do they call it? Mandatory enlistment. So when you reach like 18, 19, or 20, you must join the military, or they throw you in jail. So I think again, fact check me, but I think his family paid for him to like leave Turkey and go to America so he wouldn't have to join the military. So he is like, he acts like he isn't, but I get the feeling he's a very privileged individual, and I don't know. That's my opinion.
Man, we won the lottery. You're rich, dude. Just chill. Like, what a pathetic fucking response.
And honestly, I mean, for this part, it kind of just goes on and on.
Let's be honest. He lives in the middle of LA in California. Like come on. You've got money. That's what I meant, is that whole idea that he doesn't have the kind of money to moderate his chat, moderate what his community is saying. It's like, no, You have the
there,
means
'cause
to do
they're
that.
doing all these during live streams. We're talking about tons and tons of hours. I'll link to it down below. It's just something we can't cover point by point in this show. So if you want to do an even deeper dive, you have the tools at your fingertips. But then, as I promised I would come back and touch on, something that many people have pointed to as proof that Twitch was being anti-Semitic is the fact that Israelis weren't able to sign up to the site. Right? Among others, you had political commentators like Destiny bring this up, and also Twitch said that it fixed it shortly afterward, saying when signing up for a Twitch account, you can select an account verification method, email or phone, for added protection. Following the October 7th, 2023 attacks, we temporarily disabled signups with email verification in Israel and Palestine.
This whole thing
Going
was
on to
super
claim we
weird
did
with
this to
Twitch
prevent
too. I
uploads
don't
of
quite.
graphic material related to the attack and to protect the safety of users. With Twitch then going on to say that not letting users sign up with an email later on, that was a mistake and just an oversight and that it's fixed now. So this, as you might have noticed, there was a big community note on that. With that note claiming that Twitch's explanation is not true and that even phone verification signups weren't working. But with now all of that said and as things continue to play out in real time, I gotta pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts with this mess? Any and all of it. I know there are a number of things at play here. Any and all of it. I'd love to hear from you in those comments down below.
You've been filled in. That's Philip DeFranco. Philly D's an interesting guy. I'm not as big on Philip DeFranco as I used to, mainly because of his my full screen work? Yeah. Mainly because Philip DeFranco has like almost completely changed the type of content that he covers. He used to mainly cover like internet drama and stuff like this, but now Philly D, all he does is cover his politics now and real events. And this is one of the few times I've actually seen him actually cover like an internet pop culture type thing happening. So good on you, Philly D. All right, so what do we want to tackle next? This is the Philip DeFranco Show, and you've been filled in. What's another direction we want to tackle this through? We could tackle it from the Reddit angle. Yeah, let's tackle it from the Reddit angle. Let's go back to our buddy Mutahar, some ordinary gamer.
And ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, Reddit is absolutely in a weird spot.
So again, this whole Reddit thing, again, stems from a lot of the H3 Hassan drama. So that's why a lot of this is very interesting. And a lot of this is going to be huge in terms of ramifications. I think, hopefully, I don't remember if some ordinary gamer mentions it, but Ethan is planning on suing Reddit because of almost the same exact thing that's happening with Hassan. Reddit is not moderating people and Reddit pages within its website, and I don't know. The whole Reddit thing is very. The whole Reddit thing is almost worse because of the what's the word I'm thinking of? Because people's identities and everything can be hidden. And like at least with YouTube, if Frogan says something, you know Frogan said something. If Denim said something, you know Denim said something. But like Reddit is such a tricky, like, who is controlling all of these things? You don't know who's attacking you and who, you know, if they're an actual person or not.
Right now. But you know what is weird? Our merch, ladies and gentlemen, it's got 12 days left. So if you want to get yourself a nice new hoodie, a coffee mug, check it out at someordinarygamers.store, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, look at that. It glows in the dark, ladies and gentlemen. It actually glows. You can wear this with the red lights on. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, all things aside, let's get back
All right,
to
Mutahar,
Reddit. Now,
what am I
obviously,
doing?
if you're somebody that's been watching the
Scarlet Twilight says, yeah, Reddit is not that great with moderation. You know, I know a lot of people like to come down on moderation and I guess management and stuff, but like, I do feel like the internet is an important place to have moderation and to have people checking in on stuff like that, because there's so much anonymity. That's the word I was thinking of. Because there's so much anonymity on the internet, it almost feels like the internet is just like the wild west in terms of people going around and saying almost whatever they want. And it's just like when you go into a comment section on Facebook, on YouTube, on any of these platforms, Instagram, you know for a fact that a lot of the things that people say, if they were to say in real life to their to their families or to their coworkers or their bosses. It's like, dude, yeah, I know you ain't like that in real life, because if you said that, you're not holding down a job with some of the things some people say on the internet. You know what I mean? So, yeah, like I said, that's why I feel like moderation and I guess just oversight is a super important thing. It's you cannot free speech is a real thing, and it is something that should be empowered. But even free speech, in my opinion, should have some limits. You know what I mean? Like you can't. I mean, that's what the whole that's what the ideas of libel and defamation are for. That's why people sue for those things, is because sure you can say whatever you want, but like I can sue you for it, you know, if it's something I don't like and I have the means and the money. So I don't know that, but again, that's what things like precedent is it precedent, I can't think of the word. That's what the idea of precedent um is for, is that like I actually really hope Ethan goes through with and is successful in suing Reddit, because a lot of companies only react to losing money and only react to bad publicity. So I'm hoping, like, I don't even wish that Reddit goes away. Like, I feel like there is an important place for a lot of sites like that. But the only way to hold them accountable and to have them actually put forth an effort to, like, make their places a safe space for everybody is, unfortunately, to hit them in the pocketbook. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks. It is a really terrible way to have to fix things. But, like, hey, if Ethan's suing and getting a bunch of money and hurting the brand of Reddit, you know, lights a fire under their behind and has them actually put forth an effort to, like, watch what people are saying, it's like, okay, if that's what's required, then that's what's required, you know. I don't know if I went on long on that.
The old stock market. You probably noticed that Reddit is tanking. Ooh boy, it's absolutely
I feel like I'm
nothing right now.
I feel like I'm talking better. I feel like I'm more I feel like you can understand me a little bit more now that I'm like feeling my drink kick in. Isn't that weird? I need to stop talking. Drinking makes me talk a lot.
The stock market is a little bit on the poo-poo side right now. You're seeing a lot of that red. Yeah, there's a bit of an uncertainty going on in the world's trade right now, okay? Some people don't know, with the amount of job losses, tariffs, all the craziest things going on, the stock market has seen some pretty massive wipes recently. I mean, as of a day ago, apparently the stock market lost $4 trillion in actual value, apparently. There's a massive sell-off because people are obviously a little bit worried about recent events right now. So Reddit is not just the only loser in the world of stocks. However, it is a pretty big loser, and that is something to obviously keep a focused attention on. Now, Reddit is a social media company, and obviously they have a lot of competition. Reddit was not the
Scarlet Twilight says drinking got you yapping.
Know anything
Definitely.
about Reddit is
definitely a little bit.
Social media website where you go to. There's subreddits where you can basically find niche communities, and you can basically converse and learn new things in them, right? For instance, one subreddit that I pretty much visit is r/Linux Gaming, for instance. When I want to know things about Linux gaming, I go to this specific subreddit, and I just...
All right, if you guys could, give me 1 minute. I'm already going on my first bathroom break. I'm gonna get a refill of a drink too, so un momento. All right, sorry about that. First bathroom break of the night. Already an hour in, sheesh. Well, so I tell you what, guys, I don't have anything planned really else to check out. So I think I'm just gonna keep watching this. I'm gonna keep learning about what's going on with H3 and some of this other stuff. If you guys want, if you want me to check out anything, again, feel free to throw in the Discord or throw it in the YouTube chat, and I will definitely look into it.
Just learn what I need to. Now, obviously, the end of it, Reddit is kind of just like the internet's massive news site. You can get a whole bunch of, whatever goofy information you wanted as you want information about day-to-day things, right? So it's that kind of a website. And of course, it wasn't the first of its kind. There were sites like Dig, for instance. If anybody doesn't remember this is Dig back in circa 2008. It looks very similar to something like
heck is
Reddit.
Dig?
Obviously, Dig is in fact dead. But Reddit's big nightmare is obviously competition. And there's platforms like X or Twitter that exist, which are basically like Reddit in terms of getting your news and daily aggregation. But obviously, Dig is also back too. They've got around 10.7 million signups. And you can slap in an email right there and basically get ready to be digging again, ladies and gentlemen.
What the heck is Dig?
So yeah,
Interesting.
Reddit's actually got a little bit more competition aligning up. But it goes a little bit deeper than that. Now, Reddit's made some pretty serious misconducts in the past, all right? Some pretty big mistakes, if you will, too. For anybody that doesn't remember, about 2 years ago, there was like a Reddit blackout where Reddit had like API changes. They basically fucked with free applications, third-party applications that were actually
never heard of Dig
making
before.
their
One,
site
I guess
better.
now I have. I'd
And
never heard of
again,
it.
Many Reddit boards actually blacked themselves out. They went private. Moderators decided to take the little amount of power they had into their own hands. Until, of course, that entire protest went tits up when moderators effectively gave up. Reddit jumped in and opened up some of the most popular boards. And since then, there has actually been a very sharp rise, in my personal opinion, regarding Reddit bots. But before we go into Reddit bots, one of the reasons why I don't want to see Reddit fail at all is because I have actually been using it as like an assist for Google search. Now, I think most Google search, in fact, most search is relatively unusable, but Google search is basically still the best of the best. Now, a lot of people have been using things like ChatGPT, Grok, I think it's Perpetuity AI or whatever the hell, Perplexity, to basically search for things on the internet, right? You give it a prompt.
Isn't Grok
hundreds upon hundreds of websites to give you accurate or whatever
Isn't
accurate
that the Facebook one or whatever?
to dig up. But generally
no,
speaking,
that's the
when
Elon
you're
one,
on something like Google, right? For instance, if I wanted to look up, I don't know, Severance Theories, right? It's a great show. Love this show. Beautiful show. But generally speaking, you see the next actual result. It's literally Reddit, okay? And this is, by the way, not on like my actual like Google account. This is just me using it on a fresh, brand new like incognito account, okay? So again, a lot of people when they search for anything obviously throw in Reddit, and Reddit is one of those places where human beings come to put up the actual topics, get people to read into situations, and of course, actual human beings are interacting.
I don't know why I'm listening to him explain what Reddit is. I want to
just festering across the internet. Like, even if I wanted to look up Rainbow Six Siege, appears to be Reddits where, like, I guess creators can come and make a subreddit where people can pay and get access to. And I think they're trying to get into, like, the Patreon OnlyFans market, I shit you not. Just because, like, again, they want to keep people on one platform. They want to keep the money revolving on one
for
platform.
Twitter. Yeah,
And,
I thought it was Elon oriented.
Successful. I think it's
it was like his one that he bought.
which for anybody that doesn't know that term, enshittification is also known as crapification or things like platform decay. It's a term used to describe a pattern in which online products and services decline in quality over time. Initially, vendors create high-quality offerings to attract users, like Reddit was once a very high-quality service, and then they degrade those offerings to better serve business customers, right? So, for instance, Google comes in, scrapes user information, all to just enshittify their own search with AI and basically have this circular Ouroboros feedback loop with Reddit. And then, of course, degrade their service to users and business customers to maximize profits for shareholders, which since Reddit is now a IPO, which is now a public stock, clearly they have shareholders they need to give a shit about. For the end user, none of this is truly amazing stuff. Now, since the Reddit blackout and a lot of these Reddits have finally opened up, it's basically shown that for most of the big popular subreddits, really the administrators, which are the paid, sort of the upper echelon of the Reddit community, can basically control, open, and modify to their will. And of course, the moderators, who were once, believed to be some of the most powerful wizards on all of Reddit.com, which basically amounts to really nothing in real life, these people realized that, yeah, maybe we're not all that powerful. And of course, a lot of these communities started to fragment into smaller communities. And I would say the overall site, just from a personal perspective, didn't seem to be all what it used to before that big subreddit blackout. In fact, I would say a lot of the comments and a lot of the stuff that I read on the website is, again, not actual human interaction, freedomnow.org, when a bot is talking form. And again, Reddit is built off of actual human interactions, okay? At least in my opinion. When you start having more bots constantly invading those discussions that humans are supposed to be having, all to usually just sell shit or promote something, it completely makes a platform unusable. And honestly, because Reddit is used so much in Google searches, or really many search engines, I can see that this level of AI slop affecting actual search engines even more. AI is slowly poisoning a lot of
forgive me, I'm
places
gonna see if I can
once
find
loved
something
on the
else to
internet.
watch.
Dead internet theory is
I
not
want to
even a
see
truth,
if
it's
there's
just a matter of fact.
someone else
The thing
talking
is,
about
it's
the
not just bots on
subject.
Reddit that are the problem. Bots are a problem on pretty much many social media services out there, okay? Seriously, just look at the amount of bots that are in any YouTube comment section, or just look at the amount of bots that are in any X section or Facebook, comment section. It's just a overall problem. But for Reddit, again, which is a site that is built around that, again, human connection first and foremost, the human input of data, and of course that human communication, I think it's even more devastating for that platform if they don't get this shit done right, if they don't fix it. You can actually increase your users, but if you can't address this AI slop problem, it can absolutely, in my opinion, probably kill this website, and or at least get people to at least.
Oh, there's an interesting
maybe switch
video.
over to
I kind of
bigger
want to
stuff.
see.
Now, the darker side of the story resides in.
All right, sorry, I don't feel like I'm getting much out of the Mutahar video. There is another video I just saw that I'm kind of interested to see what this guy has to say. If you guys don't know, this guy is Lewis Spears. I don't quite know what his perspective is. I'm kind of curious. I've never watched one of his videos. Anyone heard of Lewis Spears? I'm curious what he's got to say about this. Oh, he's got Dragon Ball stuff in the background. I already like him, I think. All right, Lewis, what do you got to say?
Every time I log on to Twitter, I need to watch a back and forth between Ethan Klein and Hassan Piker like it's a part-time job. Does anyone involved in this do anything other than talk shit about the other group? I feel like Ethan Klein versus Hassan Piker is like Israel-Palestine in a microcosm. It feels like they've been fighting for my entire life, and it doesn't look like they're going to stop fighting anytime soon. Can we all go back to 2017 when YouTube was fun, when everyone was good? Remember that? Let's go back to that. Remember when Ethan Klein was doing Vape Nation?
My name's Ethan Klein. I'm the CEO of Vape.
All right, I see his viewpoint
that was
of
good.
it.
I missed that. Now it's just my name's Ethan Klein, and the CEO of Twitch is secretly in Hamas. Don't get me wrong, Ethan's not the only one annoying me with this situation. Hassan Piker, he was a lot better in 2017 too. Have a look at this.
I want to say thank you to Miley Cyrus for showing off her camel toe at the VMAs the other night. If the 15-year-old Hassan Piker from high school watching Miley Cyrus on the Disney Channel, yes, I used to do that.
Yeah, man, I used to watch the Disney Channel even though it was fucking gay. What happened to this Hassan? Where did he go?
Yes, I used to do that. Would fucking see where she is now. He would give me a mental high five across time and land and space.
Across time and land and space, or in other words, from the river to the sea?
All right, he's talking kind of fast. I need to slow him down a little bit.
I
like this guy
Hannah
so far.
Montana was a little fucking slut. Don't even try to hide.
How good was YouTube
Oh my
in
gosh.
2014? You could just make videos.
What did he say there?
Calling women sluts, and people were 2014. You could just make videos. How good was YouTube
What did
in
Hassan?
2014?
Wow.
You could just make videos calling women sluts, and people were like, "Oh, this is great. I'm going to watch this while I have breakfast." Before we get into this incredibly
Hold on, where was
divisive
this?
video, come
Would fucking see where she is now. he would give me a mental high five.
I
across
didn't
time
know
and
Hassan said
land
that.
and
Sheesh.
space.
Across time and land and space, or in other words, from the river to the sea?
I always knew Hannah Montana was a little fucking slut. Don't even try to hide
How
it.
good was YouTube in 2014? You could just make videos.
I can't tell if he was being
calling
serious or
women
if that
sluts,
was
and people were like,
a bad
"Oh, this is
joke.
great. I'm going to watch this while I have breakfast." Before we get into this incredibly divisive video, come and see me live in 2025. Loosebeers.com. Melbourne starts this month.
Oh,
and
this
they're
guy's a
going all over
comedian.
Australia.
I was gonna
UK
say,
dates announced soon.
he's talking very
and I'm going to
fast.
be doing many, many more cities. If your city is not listed here, click the link, chuck your city in,
An
and I'll shoot you a
Australian
message when I'm on the
comedian.
way.
Okay.
Enjoy. I think these guys were both funnier when they were a bit chubby. You know what I mean? They dieted themselves out of humor. They both look a lot better, and I'm sure they're a lot more healthy, but, you know, dudes with man tits are a little bit funnier. I take that back. I don't know about Hassan Piker calling Miley Cyrus a slut being funny, but you know what? He looks funny. He kind of looks like Steven Crowder. Have you noticed that? For real, dude, it's uncanny. Chubby Hassan Piker looks exactly like current-day Steven Crowder. Both of them known to call women sluts. Although, in Hassan's defense, he was saying that to a stranger. Steven's more likely to do that to his own wife while she's pregnant.
Watch it. I've seen this. This video is so messed up.
I know it's not unreasonable.
I'm so glad this Steven Crowder guy like disappeared
Nothing
after
says
this.
traditional conservative values like smoking a cigar in your pregnant wife's face and telling her she can't leave the house unless she is to do the groceries while heavily pregnant. We love it. Sorry to get nostalgic on you guys. I just missed 2015 when Ethan Klein was doing Vape Nation jokes, Hassan Piker was sexist, and Israel-Palestine were getting along just fine. Look, I'm telling some jokes here, but the main point of this video is to say, whoa, what's going on? Like, why are child services being called on YouTubers because of a tiff between friends?
Robot Slayer himself said, "Oh, I hated that guy." Oh, Steven Crowder? Yeah, very, very bad dude. Like out of all of like there's a lot of them that I don't think are that great, way on the conservative side. Like you've got like the Charlie Kirks and the Steven Crowders and the Tim Pools. I don't think any of them are good dudes by any means, but like Steven Crowder was a particularly annoying one simply because of, I think the guy had some things he wasn't telling people about, and he was kind of taking it out on like in politics. And it's clear he did because, of course, that video with his wife, and there was another thing about sexual assault allegations with one of his employees. What was his name? His employee's name was like, they called him gay something, and it was like, I think Steven Crowder had some closeted emotions. I don't know if that sounds right. I think he had things he was hiding that... Listen, you don't treat your wife that way, in my opinion, unless you're like hiding something.
Like, that is absolutely insane. And it really, really goes to show that anyone who uses Reddit for anything other than like an answer to a question is probably evil. And very, very sad and broken on the inside. This week, Ethan Klein made a video revealing that child services showed up to his home over what seems to be just false reports about child neglect.
In my long career on YouTube, I've pretty much seen it all. I've been swatted several times.
Gosh, I feel old and outdated, says
LAPD
Robot Slayer himself.
helicopters, the
Oh,
street shut
is it
down.
because you're
We've
not
also
following
been
anything here? I mean, it's weird. It's one of those things where like I kind of think it's probably good to not be too close following anything that's happening here, but I also think like, I don't know, I got nothing else to do other than I like these drama channels and following what's going on here. But don't get me wrong, I do think probably being detached from stuff like this is probably healthy for your mental well-being, your mental sanity, just per se. I like this guy so far. What's this guy's name? I'll subscribe for now. Lewis Spears. I like your opinion. He's funny. He's a funny man.
FBI 3 times. They were all to warn us of a credible threat against our lives.
Someone filed a report claiming to be a former employee and saying that there was dog shit all over the house, that the children were eating and then getting sick, and
So what they're talking about is there, like he said, there was a false report about someone calling CPS, getting it to essentially go to H3's house, and the guy that took responsibility from it. Robot Slayer himself says, I used to be invested until I kept my head down. I'm learning. I'm learning new characters every day. Again, I do feel like that's probably the proper thing to do. I can't help it, man. I like the drama. I think it's mainly because I don't take it seriously. You know, not saying I don't take. I hate to call myself this. I feel like I'm a pretty unserious person. In terms of like, I take it seriously, but I don't take it to heart. I think maybe that's more what I'm saying. Like, I think it's I'm good at detaching myself from what's happening. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's good or bad, but I can kind of detach myself and just kind of observe and form an opinion and then leave it there. You know, it's not something that I'm going to sit on or dig deep on. You know what I mean? It's just like, I'll give my opinion. You know, it's not the end of the world. If someone doesn't like it, okay, you know, I'm sorry. Like, whatever. I don't know.
CPS showed up to his home to interview his children, and that's like a pretty traumatic experience for parents and also for children. A lot of people are saying, oh, you know,
Is it weird right now that I want to go play Ocarina of Time? I think this drinking is making me want to play a game. Maybe we'll spend a little bit more time watching this, and I think I might. How much time do I have? I could probably fit in like a 2-hour Ocarina of Time stream if I hurry up with this.
So young, they'll probably just forget it. But like, when kids are too young to form memories, that's usually when their personality is being formed, and stress and anger and fear from parental figures and strangers in the home, that can really mess up a kid. So this, to me, is like a real evil act that just harms children, that doesn't help anyone's cause. Because it really does seem like this was done as like a way to get at Ethan for, in their view, being pro-genocide. But here's the thing. I'm not so sure if doxing and calling the police to show up at a streamer's house helps the Palestinian struggle at all. How are you helping Gazans that are trying to survive a genocide? Me? Oh, I'm calling CPS on a YouTuber and trying to get his kids taken away from him. And I don't really know. Maybe the butterfly effect of that will somehow get clean drinking water to children in Palestine. I don't know. I'm just a very angry, hateful person.
One time, most recently, he came at 7 a.m.
And that is another thing that, like, a lot of these people that are part of this conversation, the people that are kind of mixed up in all the beef, that are calling CPS, that are, you know, sending in bomb threats or whatever, threats in general. A lot of these people, the more that you find out about some of them, a lot of them they're all like inside the country or in some other, they're not attached to like Palestine or Israel. Like, Frogan lives in LA, Hassan lives in LA, Denim probably lives in LA. This other guy, what was his name? Bad Empanada, the guy that's taken credit for calling the CPS on H3. He lives in like Argentina or something. It's like, none of these people have any, like, I don't really get the sense that they, like, I don't want to say don't care about the plight of the Palestinians, but it's like, what can you do for the Palestinians, or whatever side you're on? What exactly can you do for them here in America? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. To me, it's just all kind of I don't know how to put it nicely. It's just like, it's like, oh, I'm in LA, but I've got your back, and it's like okay, but you have no control over what's happening over there. You can't like nothing you do affects anything that's going, like, nothing you do here, like in me here in Florida. If I were to like speak at the top of my lungs about Netanyahu, like, what does that do? What does that do to the 3-4 viewers that are watching my stream right now? You know what I mean? Like Like I feel like people have an irrational amount of perspective on how much power and how much they can dictate something. It's like short of you flying over to Gaza and joining the battle yourself. It's like what what can you do? Like I can't like, and you only have a certain amount of reach. I don't know. To me, it just seems like bad people kind of going after another content creator. It's just like, I don't know. I'm rambling.
And said, "Do not open any packages until you hear from me, as we have credible bomb threats against you that we found online."
Whenever I hear about stuff like this, I just think, why on earth would you ever be a live streamer? Anyone who streams for more than like 4 to 6 hours a day seems to attract the most unhinged audience that literally want to see you die on stream. Like, they're the most unhinged people. And of course,
Man, my community's not like that. My community wants to see me strive and become the best ChazmaN I can be. I already know that. You're wrong. What's your name? You're wrong, Lewis Spears, about my community. I have the best community.
I'm not trying to victim blame here, but God, is the...
My community loves the 6-hour avowed streams that I bring them. Skylar Twilight says, just saw this video and apparently you can be arrested for watching anime? What? That doesn't make sense. What kind of anime? Is it the H word anime? The hen T hentai? I'm not trying not to say it. That kind of anime? The only one I could think that makes sense is what's the lolly? Lolly. If you're watching anime that's lolly or lolly anime, you deserve to be arrested. I'm sorry. Should you be arrested if you're watching lolly? I mean, see, that's an interesting conversation. I don't want to give my answer to this. Now that I'm thinking about it. I mean, it's just a cartoon, but it is a cartoon depiction of something bad. Should a cartoon depiction of something be illegal? That's an interesting topic. I'm drinking too much. I'm bringing up theoreticals that I have no reason to bring up. It's from Inferno Omni. It was pretty random, says Skylar Twilight. Oh, I can check it out.
Money worth it. Everyone who streams for a considerable amount of time either ends up getting swatted or just has to stop because it's destroying their mind and their body. Hassan seems to be the only guy that looks like anywhere near what a human being should look like. Like, he's the only dude that seems to be physically and mentally healthy through all of this stuff. And I don't know if he's got a really good makeup person or he's good at hiding his demons, but he seems to be the only one that has skirted like the bullet of streaming ruining your life.
Seeing how extreme Hassan and his fan base are, and his orbiters, but the lengths to which they've gone to harass us and get revenge for going after.
Robotster himself said it varies from media to media and how and why it's presented. That my morality compass for my paintings. Again, let's see what ChatGPT says about lolly. Because I'll be honest, I don't want my opinion out there about whatever I'm doing. I'm having drunk theoreticals here. Let's just see. Is lolly illegal? I have no idea if it is. Is lolly anime illegal? Even ChatGPT says it is a highly controversial and legally complex issue. The legality of material depends on the country or region, depends on the content. Robot Slayer himself said, "Oh God, wait, no, I meant macabre. Most of my paintings are macabre." I kind of figured robot. That's not what you were talking about. You're okay. I was like, I think robot's talking about something else. Okay, in the United States, in some states, lolly, even if fictional, can be considered illegal. Okay. I think that's probably a good thing. It's so odd talking about drawings and paintings. Like, can those be? Should those be illegal? I think so. I can't find a reason why in my head why I don't think it shouldn't. Even it's just the idea that it's a drawing or a painting and not real. No, you know what? I don't want to be on that side. It should be illegal everywhere. I'm trying too hard there.
Well,
it definitely should be. Yes,
calling
that's
CPS,
ChazmaN's
Child
opinion.
Protective Services.
You heard it
to
here.
Come to our house and break up our family.
What? That's disgusting. What kind of evil, sinister...
Robot Slayer himself said, I'd ask Vera about it. I remember her going in depth with most art topics. I'm drinking too much to make sense. Oh, Robot's drinking as well. You're utilizing the St. Patrick's Day festivities like me. So who wants to be the brave one and ask or broach the topic to Veronica? I'm not doing that. One of y'all can do that. I'm staying out of it.
A demonic
it should be illegal.
Would intentionally target innocent children. It would have to be some kind of evil force in the world. That's disgusting. No, look, for real, this is like horrifying to see, and it's a real boundary and a line that should never be crossed, which is messing with people's families and children.
Robot Slayer said, "I can't." No, you don't. You do not have to.
Like,
that's on
entertaining, but this is completely fucked, and it should not.
I would
ever
hope
happen.
But I don't know. That's not something that I feel like needs to be asked.
When you are a streamer that engages in the most divisive topic online, which is Israel-Palestine, and I'm not saying that they should stop talking about it, Hassan or Ethan both. I just don't know how you can avoid this happening. This is a common problem that happens with all popular live streamers. But when you start involving politics like this, that people, people on both sides have family that have died or may die, this is when you get psychos that think that they're actually at war with a streamer because they have a differing opinion about a conflict. The type of person that reports fake crimes to authorities to get streamers killed
Bad people,
or their
yes.
children taken away from them
Agreed.
is just the most unhinged individual online and really, really just lives in sorrow and sadness.
And that's another thing Lewis Spears is bringing up a great point too, is that, remember how we were talking earlier about Hassan? If Hassan was such a good friend or person, in my opinion, like, when he found out that somebody was going after, or someone's calling CPS and going after Ethan, that should be another thing. Now, don't get me wrong, I do think, actually, I'm going to take that back. I do think Hassan did address that and I'm trying to remember. Did he actually address and not condone that? All right, you know what? Strike that from the record. I do think Hassan said that that's not cool, which I would think that's the obvious thing to say would be like, yeah, it's not cool to call CPS on somebody and try and get their kids taken from them. pretty obvious. I think what's most what is more disappointing is that I do think Hassan didn't condone it, but he didn't like admit who was like kind of spreading that type of thing around when it's people in his vicinity that are kind of spreading that. Like Ethan was showing a stream of denims where she's talking about the subject, and like everyone in her chat is saying, "Oh my gosh, the Ethan's kids are eating poo, you know, call CPS." And like it's like, come on, like those, like you can't have people in your chat saying that. And then you know, Hassan has been talking up the guy Bad Empanados, who a lot of people believe is responsible for it, and Hassan in the past has been on the record saying that he'll never have anything to do with Bad Empanada. And it's like
sadness. And you can see that
Ooh, I'm
when
getting
you
the
have a look at
hiccups.
some of the people that are celebrating the fact that CPS got sent to Ethan's house.
CPS called me. They're investigating you, homie.
Oh,
and
this
you're
guy.
posting on Instagram.
Or lady, I'm sorry.
Ah. Oh, I hope his kids get taken away from him.
I hope someone takes away your hairdresser's scissors.
I apologize. This them.
What the fuck have they done to you? Actually,
That is a very, very odd opinion to have, to kind of like
celebrating the
to be
fact
kind
that
of like
CPS got sent to Ethan's
celebrating
CPS
that
called me.
is
They're
very odd.
investigating you, homie, and you're posting on Instagram. Ah. Oh, I hope his kids get taken away from him.
I hope someone
See what I mean? That's an incredibly effed up thing, in my opinion, to say. Like, I don't. What do you benefit from having that opinion put on the internet? Like, how do you benefit? I mean, I guess maybe they did benefit because Ethan actually like addressed that video, but like, short of that, like, what do you get
takes
at
away
it?
your
I don't know.
hairdresser's scissors. What the fuck have they done to you? Actually, I know you've done that to yourself. Have you ever seen a cry for help louder than a haircut like that? Dear God, man. Milady, whatever. Z, that's fucking wild, brother.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at that. Milady.
Fix that. If you look at the
I'm laughing
mirror
at the
and
fact that he said milady, not that he was got their, or they them. I'm sorry.
you look like that, you're not allowed to have an opinion about anyone else's life because you gotta fucking fix yours.
Who says milady? I'm laughing more at that.
Not to get old Jordan Peterson clean your room, but dear God, clean your room. Look, I know you live in the car, but clean the car at least. Stop it with the blue rinse. I've had blue hair before. It was a horrible mistake. It made me sad. I can see that it's doing that to you.
Dude, this guy. Is it weird that this guy looks exactly like Troy Baker? Did anybody else notice that? Am I the first person on the internet to notice he looks just like Troy Baker? Can I find an image of him? Is that not what Troy Baker looks like? Hold on. Is this Troy Baker? Why does he look exactly like him? Has anyone else called him Troy Baker? Hold on. Why am I'm just like, I feel like mid-sentence, I'm like, wait, that's Troy Baker right there. Where can I find an image of Troy Baker? Give me a good image. Sure, right here. Here you go, see? Look at that guy. No. Look at this guy. That guy. This guy. Is that, dude, is that not Troy Baker? What the frick? Look at that. That's Troy Baker. Is this, are they twins? Dude, that's weird. Different eye colors. Troy's got blue. This guy's got like kind of green. That's so weird. They're like almost the same facial shape, different ears though. All right, maybe I'm drinking too much. Okay, all right. Very odd. I'm the first person on the internet to call that out. So.
Have you ever seen a cry for help louder than a haircut like that? Dear God, man. Milady, whatever. Z, that's fucking wild, brother. Fix that. If you look in the mirror and, but I just don't think that what is
Wait, holy, he
happening
does
to
this
Ethan
Robot
Klein
Slayer.
is something that
He
is
does look
cool
like him.
or
What this
okay,
is
and it's
Skylar?
pretty
That's
wild
insane.
That
Yeah.
no one is kind of saying that, hey, maybe.
All right, so I don't know. Do we feel like we've gotten enough? I feel like I've learned. I've had a good time with you guys. Is there anything else I care about? Let's see. What else we got here? Oh, we put some music on. That was weird, right? I don't know why. Just like literally midway watching it, I'm like, dude, that's Troy Baker right there. Veronica Rose said, sorry for being late. Oh, you're joining in right as soon as I'm almost done with that subject.
What's up, guys? Omni here.
Let's check out this video that Skylar Twilight was recommending.
If you watch anime, read manga, or play video games, you or someone you know could be breaking the law in Texas soon. A ginormous bill just passed the Texas Senate, and if it becomes law, some of the biggest anime and games out there could get you thrown in jail. Chat, are we cooked? Let's talk about it. Welcome to an all-new Lay It On Me. Allow me to lay it on you. So what exactly is happening? The Texas Senate just unanimously
I don't like
passed
his
a bill
voice. I
known
feel like
as the
he's
Senate
trying
Bill 20,
very
which
hard.
aims to combat the rise of AI-generated explicit content involving minors. But the way this law is written, it doesn't just
I guarantee you
target
he
AI.
doesn't
It
talk like
also
that in real
includes
life.
Anime, manga, and video games, even if the characters aren't real people. This is not an exaggeration, and if you're watching this video, there's a good chance this means you, future felon. This law could ban and criminalize games like Persona, Kill la Kill, Bleach, My Dress Up Darling, Dragon Ball, and hundreds of more
Dragon
pieces
Ball.
of media that you have
How dare
probably
they.
consumed. And allow me to explain why. Senate Bill 20, also known as SB 20, is an amendment of Chapter 43 of the Texas Penal Code. Essentially what it does is it makes it a felony to, quote, knowingly possess, access, or promote, quote-unquote, obscene visual material that, quote-unquote, appears to depict a minor under 18 engaging in explicit activities. That means if a character simply looks like they're under 18 and the content is deemed obscene
Skylar Twilight
by
says,
the
oh,
Texas
okay, the law is
it
only
could
in
be
Texas. How
illegal
come I'm
to
not
own, share, or
surprised?
even watch
Robot
said
Slayer, oh
content.
wait, I'm not
So
in
so what
Texas.
eventually happens if
haha.
you get caught? A first-time offense could land you
I
up
have
to
family
2
in Texas.
years in jail.
I'm
A
not in
second-time
Texas,
offense
though.
could land you up to 10 years in jail, and anything past that, you heathens, you'll probably be going to jail for 20 years. Now, there's two major problems with this bill that a lot of people are talking about. A huge number of anime, manga, and games feature characters who are under 18, because a lot of anime takes place in high school. Some of these series also include romantic or suggestive content, even if it's just part of the story. So, for example, let's talk about Persona 5, okay? It's one of the most highly acclaimed JRPG.
Talk about Dragon Ball, dude. Dragon Ball, all the main characters are like 7, 8 years old. Isn't Goku? How old's Goku in the original? Like, oh, does he ever say? I think he's like 10, actually. I think Goku's like 10 years old. And
of
then
all time. Okay, it's also one of my
Bulma's
favorite
like
RPGs of all time,
16,
and
I
apparently
think.
it being in my freaking closet might be a reason why I might go to jail if I lived in Texas. At Persona, you play as a high schooler and you can date other high school students. You can also date your teacher. Does that count as quote-unquote obscene under Texas law? Maybe. And that's the problem. This law is so broad, it's hard to know where the line is, and that is by design and not on accident. Same with anime like Kill la Kill, where the main character is a high school student in a revealing outfit, or Monogatari series where characters are depicted in romantic situations despite looking underage. Essentially, anything could be risky if Texas decides if it crosses the line.
Oh, we have Veronica here. Robot Slayer, did we want to ask her the question? I've been drinking a little bit, so Veronica Rose, we had the question earlier. What was the question? What was I talking about? Oh, we were talking about depictions of lolly. Should depictions of lolly, whether in painting form or in drawing form, should that be illegal? That's what we were talking about, Robot Slayer. Or no, Robot Slayer was going to bring the question to you. I was just theoretical. Because in my head, I was making the argument that for some reason in my head, I was kind of thinking like they're drawings, but they're not real people. But then also in my head, I'm also like, no, they should definitely be illegal. Again, don't take me seriously, Veronica. I've been drinking, so my drinking theoreticals. How did that topic pop up again? I don't know. I'm gonna move on. Yes, it should be illegal. That is the correct answer, Veronica. You win.
Chances you think I'm exaggerating, people have been arrested for less. You might not have known this, but back in 2008, a man in Iowa was sent to prison just for owning...
I don't even know where that topic came up at. How did it pop up?
manga that the government deemed to be quote-unquote obscene. Imagine what can happen.
I
if
agree
states
with
like
you. It
Texas
definitely
decides
should
to
be.
crack down with SB 20. The other big issue that some people are talking about is who decides what is quote-unquote obscene or not. The law says something is obscene if it lacks...
Veronica said, hold on, let me go on break to yap. No, you're okay. I'm sorry.
serious literary, artistic, political, and scientific value. But who exactly decides that? Is it up to the politicians? Is it a jury? Is it some random judge who's never watched anime in their freaking life? This kind of subjective language makes the law incredibly dangerous because it allows broad interpretation. Because what's considered quote-unquote artistic to one person might be considered quote-unquote obscene to another. And that's a huge problem because it means enforcement could be wildly inconsistent. It also raises serious concerns about freedom of expression and censorship. Should a state government really be deciding what kind of fiction people can consume? And then when that happens, where does that line stop? So what's going to happen now? SB 20 just passed the Texas Senate, but it's not law quite yet. It still needs to be approved by the Texas House of Representatives, and then it needs to be signed by the governor before it officially takes effect this year, September 1st, 2025. But here's the problem, or the solution, depending on what side.
I don't know,
of
the
history
video
you're
came
on
up on my
this,
feed
but,
as I was
yeah.
scrolling. Are you talking about this video, the watching anime one?
The Senate approved this unanimously, which means...
Yeah, I feel like I've gotten everything I need out of this. Interesting topic, though. I mean, I guess I feel for all my Texas brothers and sisters if they gotta go without anime. But what exactly does it mean, go without anime? Like, what are they just... Well, because here's what's gonna happen. What they're gonna do is they're gonna block a Crunchyroll, they'll block Funimation, whatever, Netflix, they'll block anything that has anime on it. But if that state is... But if that's only done in the state of Texas, can't you just get a VPN and get around that and still get your anime? Like, I wouldn't take it seriously. I would assume if you have a VPN, you should easily be able to get around whatever block that is, you know what I mean? Yeah, again, in my head, a VPN will easily get you around that. So I guarantee you companies like VPN providers probably love that stuff because it means more people are going to go out and buy it. I have Surfshark. I'm not worried about any of that stuff. Dun, dun, dun. All right, anything else we want to check out? Let's see. Anything else? Huh. I'm not seeing anything else major. Well, I don't know. What do you guys say? Should we go play some Ocarina of Time before the night ends? Who's up for Ocarina of Time? Okay, so if it's to protect the content of lolly, it's going to be hard since, again, they would need to filter so much anime, or what cannot be considered lolly. No, I 100% think lolly should be illegal. I think just for the, I don't want to say fun of the game, that's not the right term. I was just thinking in the idea of being a debate lord, I was just thinking in my head of why it shouldn't. Not that I think it shouldn't. You know what I mean? I think what people who do think it shouldn't would make the argument of more like, oh, it's not real people, it's not, these are fictional characters, they can't be, you know, no one's actually being harmed by this. by this creation. And I would just say on my end, even if no one's being harmed and it is fictional characters, I still think it should be illegal and blocked, because I just don't think I don't see what benefit it gives anybody. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to me, it only leads down one bad road, and I don't feel comfortable with that being available to people. You know what I mean? Veronica Rose says, "Frick, I mean, protect kids from the contents of Lolly. My bad, lol." No, you're okay. Again, I was just being a debate lord and thinking of why it shouldn't, and in my head, even with my debate lord argument, I still think it should be, because there is that like debate lord side of me, but then there's also the nah, screw that stuff. That should be illegal. You know what I mean? All right. Well, I think I'm going to end things there, guys. If you want, I do think I'm going to switch over to some Ocarina of Time, and I might try and play for about 2 hours before bed. Why not? Let's celebrate St. Patty's Day the right way. So real quick, let's see who to thank for this stream. So for chat, we had Amy Lee, Robot Slayer, and Skylar Twilight. Thank you so much, y'all. And I think that was about it. We also had Veronica Rose, who hopped in later. Thank you so much, Veronica, for joining. But yeah, it was fun having you guys. This was just almost 2 hours, so this was a good time. Again, I'm trying to just touch on subjects that I normally wouldn't, with more of a learning mindset versus me throwing out my opinion on everything. I think it's interesting. Again, I like kind of knowing what's happening with other content creators and what's happening around the interwebs and all that good stuff. Nothing wrong with some Ocarina of Time. I do think, yeah, I'm going to switch over to that. So, I added a Bio Crash to our Patreon. So we got Bio Crash, Electro Pirate, Skylar Twilight, Tim, and Phantom Fox. Thank you so much, you guys. Your support means a lot. And then real quick, we got the Patreon, we got the socials, and we got the Discord to follow. Alright, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end things there. We're going to switch over to Ocarina of Time. So, thank you so much for joining me for this next Enter ChazmaN Live. I do think if there's any other things that pop up that we can talk about with the H3 Hassan thing, I will definitely add it for next weekend or next episode we do. So, all right, thank you so much. Love you guys. I'll see you on Ocarina of Time.